Hi and welcome to this update video for version 4.3. There are a few new updates in this new version, and the first one is to do with PDFs and the generation of PDFs. Now, the way that Avanti has been generating PDFs is by doing so without embedding fonts within the documents, and this keeps them extremely lightweight. The trouble is what we're hearing more and more is that those documents will become unreadable by the recipient, by the people who are getting those documents, because their reader or their computer did not have access to the fonts that were being embedded in those documents. So one way around that is to embed those fonts, but it does make the files, the PDF files, quite large, but not to the point where it becomes necessarily a problem. Now, you could embed fonts in documents previously, but it was quite cumbersome and it was a little bit of a pain to do singularly. You couldn't do a batch of documents like that. So we've changed that, so you can embed fonts in documents to guarantee readability. So by default, once you install the new update, it automatically starts to embed those fonts in your document, so you don't actually need to do anything to begin doing that, and then that guarantees readability, because the fonts, when somebody comes to view your document, the fonts are there within the document to be able to view them. So that guarantees readability and you don't have to do anything that's built in. However, if you need to change the settings or want to look at the settings, what you can do is you can go to the File menu, Company Preferences, and under Reports and Documents you've now got this new section called PDF Export Options. And again, it just has defaulted to use embedded fonts in your PDF documents. You can untick that if you want to go back to the previous way of doing it. Or you can also compress the PDF documents, and what this does is, if you want the file size to be a little bit smaller than the way it generates them now that it's embedding those fonts, you can do that as well. It will result in slight deprecation of the quality of the documents, but that might be something that you can live with, for the fact that it reduces the file size by about a third to a half. So that's something you may want to look at. So this has been much requested as time's gone on, and more people are finding that some of their customers are not being able to read the documents. This is something that's been important for quite a lot of people. The other update that we've included in there is for customers who are used to working with just-in-time stock. So they'll be putting sales orders on, and they need to be able to see what items that they need to order and from what supplier. So what we've done is we've changed the stock reorder report to accommodate this. So if we go into stock and reports and go into stock reorder report, okay, now what you'll see initially is exactly what we had before, which is, and we can see in this new include box here, below reorder level, so the items that have fallen below their reorder level, which is fine for stock. But if you need to order stock based on customer orders, it can be a little bit, it doesn't give you everything that you maybe want to see. So we've included this option now for outstanding sales orders. So if we tick that, what we do is we get a list of the items that perhaps need to be ordered just for the sales order. So let's take a look at this item here at the top. You can see I've actually sorted the field to make sure that they all come to the top, the ones with sales orders. We can see that this item here has only 3 in stock, but we've got 5 orders. Now previously, because that hasn't got a reorder level set, that wouldn't have dropped into the report. And the same with this one as well. We've got 5 in stock, we've got 4 sales orders, but we've already got 4 of those 5 allocated, so we need to order those, and so on and so forth. And whether you tick the outstanding sales orders or not, it does actually include the sales order quantity in there, so that you can see immediately that you've got sales orders outstanding for this particular item. And that's particularly the case if you don't automatically allocate the orders as well. You can see what you've got unallocated, what you've got on sales orders. And the other thing as well is we've made it a little bit easier for you to order these items. So for example, I want to order this one, so I'll just right click and say order items. I do that, automatically selects the supplier for the item automatically on the order, rather than you having to type that in separately, so just to make it a little bit easier. So this just helps customers who are used to ordering on a just-in-time basis to be able to go in and see which items that they need to order from their supplier based on the sales orders that they've had in. So one of the other enhancements we included is an improvement to delivery notes in the document designer. So previously on delivery notes, you only had the option to include the quantity that was actually being dispatched on that particular delivery note. But some people have needed to say, well, okay, but let's say somebody's ordered 10 and I'm only actually delivering 3 today. I need them to see what they've ordered, what I'm delivering now, and what is to follow. So what you can do is in the document designer, we go to delivery notes and we design this. So as you can see, we've got the quantity here. Now that's the quantity that's on the dispatch. It's on the delivery note that's being delivered now. But what we've done now, we've also added the order quantity field and the on back order quantity. So this means that what you can do, if I can just shift a couple of these things around, is I can now put on there what the order quantity was just by dragging this on. Sorry, I need to put this in here in this section, and also what the quantity is on back order. And by having these fields available, you can now put more information on there than just the pure quantity that's being dispatched. You can let the customer know the status of that. So again, that's something that's been requested by a number of users. So that pretty much covers the enhancements that's in 4.3. Obviously, we're working on new enhancements. Coming in 4.4 is Making Tax Digital VAT return submissions. And if you keep watching this video, I've tagged on at the end of it a video I've recorded that shows you how this is going to work, and a full demonstration of how it's going to work. We're very, very close to releasing it now, and it will be available in version 4.4, which is the next update after this one. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Like I say, keep watching and you'll see a video of the Making Tax Digital VAT. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Welcome to this video demonstrating Making Tax Digital VAT in Avanti. So we start off by taking a look at how we set up the system to enable Avanti to submit your VAT returns. So we do that in company preferences, either from the settings on the navigator or from the file menu. So we go to our VAT section, and under VAT setup, and we've now got a new section called Making Tax Digital, and it's just giving us a little warning message there that says Avanti needs to be authorised with Hmrc to submit MTV VAT returns for this company, and we can click below to authorise. Now it's important to stress that this does not in any way go through the process of registering you for VAT online or for Making Tax Digital account. It assumes everything like that has already been set up and that you're just going to authorise Avanti to submit your VAT returns for you. So if we now click on this button here, it's going to open up a web browser for us, and it's just going to take us to the government website, Hmrc website. Yours may look a little bit different. Obviously in this video, in this demo, we're not going to be submitting an actual VAT return for a live company on a live tax account. We're going to be using Hmrc's test server to do that. And so you'll get a page that looks similar to this, and it just says authority to interact with Hmrc on your behalf, and it says Avanti needs permission to interact with Avanti needs permission to interact with Hmrc on your behalf. To grant authority, you'll need to log in and do everything that you need to do. Now the steps that this does, because it's a test scenario, there's only 1 or 2 steps to do. Yours may be a little bit more involved, but it's essentially the same. So we just click continue, and it asks us to sign in with our user ID, which is the user ID of your tax or of your VAT account. And a password. Hopefully I've got all that right, and then we just click sign in. Now this is going to go straight into it for me. On yours it will probably do what they call a second step verification, so it may send a message to your mobile phone or whatever, but in this case it's making it easy because it is a test scenario. So but essentially you will get to a page like this once you've logged in and everything's correct, And it just says the Avanti software application is requesting to do the following: review your VAT information and change your VAT information. Now it's important to note that that's a little bit misleading. All it will be able to do is to go and pick up any VAT information, any VAT return information that's due or that is outstanding or open. And also when it says change your VAT information, it just means that we'll be able to, or the software will be able to submit VAT returns for you. So once we've done that, all we've got to do then is to click Grant Authority. And this will take us to a page that's got an authorization code, a rather long, weird looking authorization code. We don't have to worry too much, we've just got to click the copy button. That'll put it into our clipboard. Go back to Avanti, and now we're being asked for this authorization code that's provided by Hmrc. And all we have to do is to right click and select paste. And it's important, because we're going to need to click this validate button here, it's important next to you click tab or enter to do that. Now just before we do that, just one aside I want to mention is your V80 registration number here that was previously just been used for reference purposes. If you've not got that set up correctly on your company preferences, because it wasn't really required before, it's just for reference, you will need to have that properly set up, because as we communicate with Hmrc, it will require that VAT registration number is involved in the information, and if it's not correct, you won't get it to work. So okay, so once we've done that, we've got the authorization code in there, we'll just click validate, and we'll just go and now talk to Hmrc's test server in this case. In a live scenario, it'll be your actual tax account, and it just tells us, yep, authorization is granted, we're all good to go. So I'll just click OK. We'll save and close that, and now we'll go to our V80 return. So we'll go to our reports menu and financial and V80 return. So you'll notice it looks a little bit different than previous, because we've now set up MTD VAT. And here we'll see we've got our select VAT period as we used to have. But if we drop it down, you'll see there's nothing in there. And the reason being is that we've got this checkbox here that says show open periods only. At the moment there, that's ticked. So if we untick it and drop down, we've got our previous returns. As I say, this is test data, so obviously it's kind of old looking returns, but they're previously saved VAT returns, not that they've been submitted, just saved in the past. Okay, so I'll click the checkbox again, and the reason that's empty is that we haven't actually asked Hmrc to tell us which returns are open, which returns are next up, if you like. And the way we have to do that is we have to ask Hmrc for them. And so we've got this little link here that says retrieve open returns from Hmrc. So if we just click that, and it will go and get any open returns that Hmrc think is next due. Okay, and it's retrieved them. So if we now drop it down again, this is what we've got back from Hmrc, which is the next VAT return. Again, we're communicating with their test data, with their test server. So the data that we actually get back is you know, I'm recording this in April 2021. That doesn't look right, but that's the data that we're getting back. Obviously, when you're using it and it's live, it will be your current VAT return. So this is telling us it's the period of 0317 from Jan to March 2017, and it also gives you the due date, which is 0705, the 7th of May. Okay, so we'll just pick that up, and we'll go as we did before. We'll just go to calculate. That'll just give us our figures. Again, it's just simple test data in this particular case. So once we're ready and once we're happy with the figures that it's showing us in these 9 boxes, we can then go and submit that to Hmrc. And all that is submitted is these boxes. Okay, no transactions are going over the wire. It is purely just the 9 boxes that get submitted to Hmrc. It may change in the future, but for right now, that's what effectively gets submitted. So we've now got a button at the top called submit, and all we do is we click that, and we get a little message that we put up, or a long message, which we want to look at it, and it just tells us, look, this is final. You know, there's no resubmitting, there's no changing or anything like that. So just make sure that it is finalized before you submit it. And all of this information will be saved, a snapshot of the Obviously Hmrc will save it and record it at their end, but we'll also save a snapshot of it, including all of the transactions that back it up, so you can always go back and look at this as you want to. So you sure you want to finalise and submit this VAT return? Yeah. Now this is the mandated message that we are legally obligated to provide before you actually submit it. So this is just Hmrc saying make sure that they are prepared to submit that return in that format. So all I've got to do is just to confirm. Again, that's mandated by Hmrc that we give you that facility to confirm, and submitted by. Now this isn't something that Hmrc require, this is something that we've put there, and it's just so that we can record a name of the person that submitted the return, and also it's another step so that you can't accidentally submit a return. You have to put a name in there. So we'll just put in John, a silly second name so no one's offended, and when ready to do that, all we've got to do is click confirm, and off we go. Now submitting that return to Hmrc. Just takes a few seconds to do, and yep, we've submitted it successfully. All we've got to do is click OK. And also we display some information that we got back from Hmrc just to show that we did get a response back from them. We get a receipt ID, and you don't need to write any of this down at this point. We've recorded it and you can retrieve it at any time. Receipt ID if it's required, a charge reference number, which is something that's to do with payments that Hmrc may need to reference, and it's got a message processed at, which is the date and the time that Hmrc received the message, not necessarily when it processed it, but when it received the VAT return submission. And it's in UTC format, so it may look like it's an hour behind, depending on what time of year you're submitting your VAT return. UTC is kind of, sometimes it's the same as GMT, sometimes it's an hour behind, but it just gives you an idea just to prove that this information has been submitted to Hmrc, and that's what we got back. And again, all this is saved in the background, so you don't need to worry about it. You can always bring that back. So that's pretty much it, really. It's pretty straightforward to do, and yeah, we hope you enjoy using it. Thanks for watching.